Yeah, they brought her out, and it's hard to see because they're actually kind of huddled over her. She's on the ground on the stretcher and doing some, kind of basic stabilization. We know, oh, here she comes down here. Again, just an incredible moment. This happened Monday. She's been in that building for days, freezing cold. She could hear rescuers obviously trying to get to her, and now she has been freed. The latest survivor of this earthquake. Really just a miraculous thing to see.
And just to look at her there, Briar, obviously they're covering her up, and we want to be careful and sensitive to that, but her eyes open and blinking, so conscious as she's taken to an ambulance to receive medical attention. But there, as you say, there is a moment of joy and hope for the country, which is seeing so much sadness and devastation and death. And this will be something to seize on this day 5, more than 100 hours in that rubble. Good morning. I'm Heather Hiscox. You're watching CBC Morning Live, and we are leading off this hour with live pictures here from Adiyaman in the southeast of Turkey, the very latest on the breaking news in the aftermath to the quake disaster zone in Turkey. We have CBC News there on location as a Canadian search and rescue team from Burnaby works with other rescuers there to try to free a woman who has been trapped for days. This is Friday, the quake early Monday morning, trapped since then inside a collapsed building in the city of Adiyaman. I'm going to bring in Briar Stewart, who's there with her CBC News team right on location, giving us moment-by-moment coverage over the last couple of hours. What's the latest, Briar?
Well, Heather, it really is remarkable when you think about how many days it's been and the fact that there is a woman trapped in there, and rescuers have made contact with her. We understand that they've given her food and water, but in terms of actually extracting her from the building, it's very difficult and precarious work. I'll get my cameraman Dimitri to just pan back over so you can see what rescuers are doing. At first, they were trying to go in on the second floor there, and they thought they were going to be able to reach her that way and pull back the material to widen the hole to get her out, but they've come up against something that they can't get through. At first, they asked for a hydraulic lift. They came over to the Burnaby team here that's volunteering, asked if they had one. They didn't, so then they had to bring in the fire department from Adiyaman. They showed up with a tool that was kind of described to us like a mini jaws of life, but they've had trouble trying to free the woman from that path, so now they're actually trying to go underneath. So if you can see down there, they're actually under the very lower slab of the building. People are under that. I mean, think about how dangerous that is, given that you have this apartment building really just on the verge of collapse. So very, very dangerous work. And, it's not entirely clear just kind of what situation she's in, but it's very positive news that they've been able to talk to her and that she was able to take food and water. So it's quite remarkable when you think about just how cold it is outside. I mean, I'm dressed for the weather. I've been out here for a couple hours. I'm cold, and she's been there for 5 days now. So it is quite remarkable.
Briar, I'm just thinking about that woman, rescue so close at hand. She's been in this situation, as you say, for 5 days, and there are people there trying to free her, and yet they just can't do it. I mean, these must be the most perhaps excruciating moments of all. It's so dangerous and so precarious, the building, and yet rescue is right there for her. Unbelievable.
Yes, and Heather, I want to say that we've just been told by the Burnaby crew that's kind of keeping us apprised of the latest is that it could be at 5 minutes that they're taking her out. And just to recap, I mean, the team from Burnaby flew here on Tuesday after the earthquake. They volunteered. They contacted the Turkish embassy to see who to coordinate with. They flew in with high-tech cameras that have really been useful here because the team has been able to put those cameras into the building and get a 360-degree view. There's thermal imaging. So you might want to stay with us here. They say that she's coming out very soon. Obviously we don't know what kind of condition she's in, but it is positive that she has been able to speak with rescuers throughout this process.
Okay. Well, we will. Briar, just interrupt me whenever there's anything new you want to join in, but I'll just talk a little bit about what we're getting also out of Adiyaman, because the Turkish President Erdogan was in also that part of the country earlier today and gave an update on things and of course, the numbers have risen higher, and he has been giving the official count. 18,991 people have passed away, are known to have died in the earthquake disaster. That is in Turkey alone. So what we are dealing with in Turkey and Syria is now more than 22,000. It's the deadliest earthquake disaster in the world. Well, one of the top 20. I'm sorry, I'm getting my numbers mixed up. It's one of the top 10 deadliest earthquakes in the last 20 years anywhere in the world. And it is surpassing the tally from the last serious Turkish earthquake, which was in 1999. Briar, if you want to join in here, I don't want to, we really want to focus on this scene, and maybe the people from Burnaby can give you a little bit of instruction as to what exactly they're doing. I'll certainly turn it over to you whenever you want to tell us what's happening there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is a lot going on. We can see that they're under the lower level of the building here. And I'm just going to ask Dimitri to turn around for a second very quickly, because you can see that there is an ambulance waiting there. You can see also a crowd. There's been a crowd of residents. We understand that there are some relatives here as well that have been waiting all morning to watch to see how this rescue goes. And we understand that after the woman comes out, she'll be put in that ambulance. They have kind of cleared the road in the way so that there's a path for the ambulance to go. But obviously, this has been a very long process. We'll get back to the building over here. We'll just, we have to be a little bit careful when we step around this environment because obviously there's a lot of debris still. But if we just, keep the shot there on the building because we do expect her to come out. And I think, Heather, it's important to point out is that there are dozens of rescuers here. You have rescue crews, you have members of the police, there are members of the military, international volunteers like the Canadians, and this is just one site, one rescue. Now think about how many buildings in this city in Adiyaman that I'm in right now where you have rescues going on, and then think about all 10 provinces in southeast Turkey that have been hit by this earthquake, and that just gives you a sense of the scale, right? Just how many people are involved in the work. And as we've been saying through this whole week, I mean, time is so critical because there is a narrow window for people to be found, especially given the temperatures. I think in this case, what is really remarkable is that it sounds like, from the rescuers anyway, is that she has a little bit of space. The fact that they were actually able to reach in, there's a hole large enough where she could actually take food and water. I mean, it is really quite remarkable.
It is, and you've talked about how, when you were telling us about this initially, she seemed to be trapped under a door, but in one of the pockets that sometimes are created in these collapses, and that's enabled them to reach her as they are. You know, I'm thinking, Briar, hopefully this will lead to the conclusion that everyone is hoping for, that she will be free, that she will be rescued, and that she will be fine. And I'm thinking about what a moment that will be. Let's just watch this. You told us, Briar, that if they bring in the stretcher, there's the stretcher going in, Briar.
Yep, and I think the stretcher, Heather, the stretcher's going in right now.
And Briar told us earlier that if the stretcher moves in, that means that rescue is imminent. Just a few minutes ago, Briar, in another part of Turkey, German rescuers pulled a woman out from a building there. They want quiet here. They just want them to do their work.
We're going to just come over here for a minute. They're asking us to, one second, we're just going to take a step back.
Okay.
Asking for some space.
As you're doing that, I'll just fill in this story. This is what I'm struck. This is going to be such an important moment again for the country. In another part of Turkey, in Kinkan, just earlier this morning, a German rescue team pulled out a woman after 104 hours. And it was just this moment of elation and re-energizing the workers and hope for the country. And we've seen so many children pulled from the rubble as well. Of course, there are so many more who are not going to survive this. But these moments are so important. And what you are watching now with our CBC News camera and with Canadian search and rescue volunteers helping is, again, one of these moments against the odds, day 5 after this extraordinary disaster. But it looks like we are going to be here as they watch live as they free this woman. Are you in a position, Briar, to tell us more? It looks like I see blankets going in. Are you in a position now where you can tell us?
We're just going to step back here, Heather.
Sure.
Yeah. We need to back up a little bit more here. Just
Okay.
There's a lot of people, and I think it's a little hard for us to understand exactly what's going on because obviously the conversations are taking place in Turkish. But I do think it's kind of imminent now that she's coming out, and it appears that they would like us to give them some space. So we're just going to back up a little bit. I mean, we still want to be able to update everybody on the situation.
So we can continue talking. They're not asking you to stop.
Dimitri,
Okay.
can you step back just a little bit here for me, please?
Okay. So as you do that, Briar, I'll just indicate if people have been watching this week, sometimes...
No. I think they just want to be mindful, obviously, of where the camera's pointing.
That's right. That's right. And we'll be careful. We're not sure, of course, in what physical condition this woman is. Bearing in mind, she would have been asleep, as everyone was, at 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday, in the overnight of Monday, when suddenly this 7.8 magnitude quake first hit, followed very closely by a 7.5. And there have been hundreds of aftershocks since. But this is partly why the number of dead and injured in this quake disaster has been so high, because there was no forewarning. People couldn't rush to safety, Briar. They were asleep in their beds when everything suddenly collapsed. So as you watch, I mean, if we're looking at you now and not looking at the scene, you're going to have to be our eyes there.
And that's where...
And that's, we're seeing the blankets go in and the stretcher. Any updates?
Yes, she's not out yet. They are. Sorry, I'm having a hard time peering through the crowd here. But yeah, they're in the process of bringing her out. And Heather, you talked about people being asleep at night, right, when this happened. And that's what the crews are saying, is that when they're doing these rescues, almost all of them are taking place in the bedroom. That's also true when they're talking about finding bodies. They're finding bodies in their beds because people were violently woken up. Now, she is coming out now, I understand. As I mentioned, we are going to be mindful and give some space here. But I think this is a pretty... it's a pretty exciting moment, and I think for all of us here too, because you see so much death and so many of these missions where they aren't able to bring somebody out alive, but every time that they do, it is a remarkable moment.
And we are going to witness it live with you, Briar. Again, if you're just joining us, 8:12 Eastern. This is a scene at Adiyaman in the southeast of Turkey. Briar Stewart and Corinne and Dimitri, her team, part of our CBC News team in the earthquake aftermath. We've been here for the last couple of hours as these incredible crew members have been reaching a woman who has been trapped in the rubble, under a door, or in some sort of a pocket where she has done pretty well physically since the earthquake early in the morning on Monday. But obviously, in that destruction, it's been very challenging to get to her. So as Briar brings us what's happening, I'll give you just a little bit of background that we've had from earlier conversations. They had thought they'd be able to... Oh, let's listen.
This is the moment, Heather.
You're watching live coverage. God is great. Briar, this is extraordinary. The hugs from the crew members, the elation. We know that she'll be getting some medical attention.
They had an oxygen mask there.
Okay.
And once...
Coming this way, probably. She's probably coming.
So I'm just hearing some discussion that they will be probably taking the stretcher this way. But the elation among the team members.
There's so many rescuers involved in this.
And they are euphoric at having extracted this woman. Now, we're not seeing the stretcher, but you can see their reaction after those hours of painstaking work. What does it look like, Briar? We'll be able to see that as they come by you, do you think, your location?
Yeah, they brought her out, and it's hard to see because they're actually kind of huddled over her. She's on the ground on the stretcher and doing some, kind of basic stabilization. We know. Oh, here she comes down here. Again, just an incredible moment. This happened Monday. She's been in that building for days, freezing cold. She could hear rescuers obviously trying to get to her, and now she has been freed. The latest survivor of this earthquake. Really just a miraculous thing to see.
And just to look at her there, Briar, obviously they're covering her up, and we want to be careful and sensitive to that, but her eyes open and blinking, so conscious as she's taken to an ambulance to receive medical attention. But there, as you say, there is a moment of joy and hope for the country, which is seeing so much sadness and devastation and death. And this will be something to seize on this day 5. More than 100 hours in that rubble, and a woman pulled live from that scene. And you've been watching it live with us on CBC News Network. And Briar, we can't underestimate or under stress the role of Canada's volunteers in that. The Burnaby Urban Search and Rescue Team playing critical roles in bringing that woman out. Let's underline that once again.
Yes, and actually, we'll talk a little bit about that. Sorry, I am having a hard time hearing you because it is a little chaotic here. Here, we're going to just, I think they were all trying to get a photo of themselves after the rescue. So we want to get out of the way. We don't want to be in the photo. Dimitri and I are going to move over here. Excuse me, sorry. We're just going to come over here and join our Canadians. Thank you. Very, very good work. Thank you. Good work, everybody. Thank you.
Where are you from?
I'm from Canada. We're talking to a Canadian audience right now. How do you
speak
feel?
English very well, a bit.
A bit, but can I ask you, how does it feel to bring her out?
I am happy. We are happy. We are Amasra Taş Kömürü Kurumu, Türkiye Taş Kömürü and Atak Doğa ve Arama Kurtarma Derneği, Giresun. Türkiye Giresun.
Right, all the different groups that are here. Congratulations, and I know it's been a hard week for everybody. And I'm going to take a step over here to the Canadians who are packing up their equipment because there are other buildings to go to, other sites to search. Do you mind if I ask you guys a question here? While we're packing up, we're live on CBC right now. I mean, you've been here now for a number of hours watching this unfold. What is it like to finally see the moment of her coming out?
Oh, it's incredible. It's such a rare event that you actually have somebody that can survive these conditions, and the team effort here was really something else to really take out the person who was trapped there. So it's something else.
And what do we know exactly? Because I actually could not see because there was such a large crowd of rescuers huddled there. I mean, they grabbed her from underneath, right?
Yes.
Can you kind of take us through that process?
I mean, I wasn't really in there myself, but from what I do know is they did try to set up all that shoring to gain access, make it as safe as possible for them. And then we were assisting them with many of our tools so they can get through a lot of the material there to get access to her.
Absolutely. And where are you guys off to now then?
That'll be updated soon. We've got a great team over here that's been sending us to where we need to be.
But lots of need in this area for help. Well, thank you very much. Can I get your name?
Hey, my name is Brody.
Brody? Okay,
Yeah.
well, Brody, thank you very
Nice to meet
much
you.
and good work here.
Hey.
Thank you very much. With you, photo ready.
Great job.
Photo.
Great job.
But we'll see that here, Heather, they want to get a photo with the Canadians that have come to help them. We'll step out here.
You know,
You can
Briar,
see, we'll just keep looking at this. I mean, these
right
are the
in
Canadians.
huddle.
You can just see how happy they are that they have been here to help because they did bring equipment. They brought cameras.
You know, Briar, let me just jump in. Watching you at work, it's just extraordinary. But this is capturing everything. You know, dozens of countries have rushed into Turkey to help in this aftermath of this catastrophe. Canada responding. Just look at that. The Turkish appreciation. Let's just pause and take in this moment. Everyone just so delighted. Briar, can I just ask you, because I know what I was feeling watching you at work there. We have been reporting, and I'm far away from it, obviously, but every day the developments as the number of dead has risen and the scope of the disaster just gets worse and worse. And there you are right in the thick of things. To be there for that moment, as you said, of joy, just give us a little personal take, if you would. You know what? It is just so incredible. And we were talking about this because we've been here all week.
And spent every single day at sites like this where you see apartments and just layers of destruction, and you wonder, how could anybody survive that? Like, how could they be bringing anybody out of there? And as you know, yesterday we were at a morgue in a city called Marash, about a couple hours drive from here, and to see the bodies going in and out, and particularly the bodies of small children and seeing their families, it's very difficult. It's very difficult for anybody to deal with, and so that's why moments like this are pure joy, because you see the resilience, the fact that all these rescue crews here spending hours and hours at a site like this, they are making a difference, right? There are people who have survived this even after 5 days, right? They still can get people out from buildings that look like this. So it is just incredible to witness, and I think, it was.